So I believe that Mwalimu is audible and the screen is on. Great. I know it was on a very short notice. I know it was on a very short notice, but thank you for attending the session. So as communicated when we started the semester, we say that, and we agreed that nowadays you'll find that the semester is very short. Ideally, we usually tend to talk about like 3.5 months, yeah? And for us to make sure that we are well prepared to avoid a lot of pressure towards the end, we say that we'll be having weekend revision classes only. So the classes that we'll be having on weekends, those will be purely for revisions. I know during the week, you do attend, of course, your coursework. During the week, you'll be attending, of course, your coursework, normal coursework. And so far, I believe all the classes, at least you've done a lot, which ideally will provide content for revision as well. The main reason of doing the revisions over the weekend is to reduce the pressure towards the end. See, so that towards the end, I know a majority of the students, they always very anxious and a lot of pressure. So how do you reduce this pressure? During the week, you do your coursework. Then on weekends, we do our revisions. So that by the time we reach towards the end of the semester, now that will be maybe like 3 weeks to exams, at least you don't have that pressure of looking at this, or that pressure of doing a lot of revisions. Because weekends, we'll be doing our revisions. During the weekdays, you do your coursework. This will reduce the pressure towards the end. And that is what we'll be doing. So these revision classes, of course, will commence today. And today will just be a matter of overview, guiding us on what you're supposed to do, and finally, what are the strategies or what will be required to handle in that case. What Mwalimu is going to do today, because you are looking at financial management here, talk about financial management here, financial management. So Mwalimu is going to share with us a secret. I know I've not shared this for other classes as well. And I'll want us to look at the key areas and the examination structure of how we normally tend to do exams, or how the exams or how these papers are always being tested. So what we're going to do, let me share with us this. First of all, of course, I'll explain how the exams are being tested or how exams are being set, so that this will form a foundation for us to make sure that throughout our revisions, we know exactly what, of course, we are looking at, and that will help us a lot. So let me share with us this document. Let me share with us this document. It's very important, yeah. This document will help us a lot. Just a moment. So that when you're starting our revisions, at least you should know how these papers are being tested. And that's the reason why you'll find that from 2023, majorly for those who are in CPA, things have not been okay. A lot of students, they always tend not to get it right from the first time. And this is the reason why. I'll tell you why. From 2023 thereabout, mostly even these computation papers, it has been so hard for students who are not, majorly for those students who are doing their self-studies, they really had a lot of hard time to pass the paper, maybe on first attempt. And this is the reason. I want to share with us this document. Let me see if at all I can fetch it now here, so that you'll be able to understand and get it right. What Mwalimu is sharing with us is to help us to understand how the exams are being tested, or not tested per se, how the exams are being set. What I'm sharing with us is to help us to understand how exams are being set, how exams are being set. How exams are being set. So this is what you're having here. Moment here. So this will form the foundation of our revisions here. This will form the foundation of our revisions. This will form the foundation of our revisions here. So this is how things are always are. This This will form the foundation of our revisions. You see, when you're looking at your exams and how your exams is being tested, this is the reality of things, okay? At this point, we are looking at, first of all, your exams, of course, is expected to cover 75% of all the things that is within our syllabus here. You are expected to cover at least 75% of what it is in your syllabus is going to be covered or tested. And how will things be arranged? You'll find that we have 3 categories of how the exams is being tested. The first category, we read about remembering and understanding. The second category, we have applying and analyzing. The third category, you have evaluating and creating. We are in intermediate level. So, my good students, for a fact, look at the case, whatever that is going to come directly from your books. Whatever that is going to come directly from your books, copy-pasting a maximum of only 20%. Whatever that is going to come directly from your book, copy-pasting directly from your books is only a maximum of 20%. That is under the category of remembering and understanding. We have category number 2, applying and analyzing. For applying and analyzing, we are looking at 30 to 40%. See? So let me explain, first of all, applying and analyzing, how it works. See, applying and analyzing, these are questions whereby talk about, of course, applying and analyzing here. See, so these are the questions whereby you are expected to know the concept, okay? You are expected to know the concept. Now, given a concept, it will be expected for you, of course, to analyze the question, use that concept that you have. See, use the concept that you have to analyze the question and give us a solution. It is not like it is out of your syllabus, it is within your syllabus. But what has been done? In this case, we find that the question has been set in a way that it is not direct. It is upon you to look at the question.
Mwalimu, your mic is out.
Is not always about the answer. It is about the concept that you get right. So imagine at this point, a student has crammed the answers, and in this case, there's a small twist. Hapo utaona nje, right? Utaona total darkness. Utaona giza. Utaona giza totoro. See? So it is important for you to understand the concept right. Okay? That is applying and analyzing. You see, the first segment of remembering, in this case, this is what you've been given in your notes directly the way it is. So it's just a matter of, at this point, can you be able to recall what you studied? That is the first segment. Now, the third segment, this is what we're having in the third segment of our paper, how it's being tested. The third segment is, we are in intermediate. We are looking still at intermediate. The third segment is evaluating and creating. See, evaluating and creating. We're about evaluating and creating here. This is the third segment of how, even this time, how your paper is going to be tested. Evaluating, of course, and creating. Even this time, there's nothing new that is going to change. So, you see, under evaluating and creating, this is a point whereby utakuwa exam alafu unaanza kuangalia juu, yeah? Unaangalia swali alafu unaanza kuangalia juu, yeah? You start looking at the heavens, yeah? Of course, there'll always be blessings from the heavens, yeah? So, evaluating and creating, what will this question entails? This question the setup of the question, number one, will entail you having the concept right. Two, you having the knowledge of what you're doing. You see, the concept, you having the knowledge of what you're doing, and you having understood the procedures of how the questions are being tested. You see, for example, like FM, of course, I'm going to guide you on the key areas. For example, like FM. FM, you're doing, say, like, we can pick, say, like, what? Take, for example, the aspect of capital structure divisions. You're asked of WCC, for example. See, so the final or the question here, you ask of WCC, you're given a one statement, yeah? Only one statement question, whereby you're asked to determine what? To determine WCC. So, you know, determining the WCC, number one, you'll be required to determine the cost of capital, yeah? You'll be determined to determine the cost of capital or cost of equity. You'll be determined to determine, of course, the cost of preference shares and maybe the cost of debt. Now, see what will happen. The moment you get this one wrong, already WCC is not correct. So if you get this one wrong, already this one will be wrong. If you get this one wrong, this one will be wrong. And if you get this one wrong, then this one will be wrong. So if at all a question was allocated 10 marks, yeah, and already the first item, you've not gotten it right, what will happen to the rest? You might take some marks, and trust you me, once you've gotten this wrong, you cannot score more than even 4 marks. Yeah, you cannot score even more than 4 marks because they do relate. See, they actually do relate. So in this case, the same case will happen with WNCC, or maybe never hear about the aspect of NPV. Look at the question, maybe you're asked of NPV, you're asked of IRR, and maybe you're asked of PI, profitability index. The moment you get one of these wrong, definitely this would be wrong, this one would be wrong. They do relate. See, so when it comes to evaluating and creating part, these are points whereby students must always be very, very, very tentative. And in this case, you must always tend to be very keen with what you're putting down. Because look at how many marks is allocated on that. I just want you to observe the marks that is allocated on that area. The marks allocated on this area, we are looking at almost 40%. This is intermediate level. We are looking at 40 marks. See? So this is clearly telling us that for exams purposes, this will cut across all the papers that you're doing in intermediate level here. For exams purposes, you realize that whatever that will come directly, like literally copying and pasting word by word, is a maximum of 20%. Meaning that the 80% will require you, 80% will require you to have a very clear knowledge, a very clear understanding of the concepts that you're handling. That is the most important thing that we need to understand, and we need to get it right. See, so that is important to note. Let us go to the mistakes. And Mwalimu is giving us these tips very early. You still have a lot of time to make some amendments and to make some changes. Higher, we look at the mistakes that majority of the students normally tend to make. Those that are attending classes, those that are doing self-studies. These are mistakes that majority of the students normally tend to fall victim on without knowing. So what is the greatest mistake? Yeah? Look at the mistakes that you normally tend to make. Number one mistake, which a lot of students are affected with, in this case, you'll find that you are either doing your self-studies or you're attending class. And you find yourself, you have what? You have your revision companion or revision kit. By the way, even as you do provide the revision kit, say, you have your revision kit there. This revision kit, of course, is Q&A, question and answers. This is what revision kit will entail. Now, what you'll be doing, Mwalimu will leave an assignment. Yeah, or maybe you'll just be doing your revisions. So Mwalimu will leave an assignment, will tell that kindly today go and look at this question for WCC or go and look question for NPV. Or maybe you're doing your self-studies. You're doing your self-study. You're looking at the revision of this component. So because your mind is you're having your revision kit, so what will happen? You'll try or you'll attempt a question. Then in this case, maybe you'll get a challenge on that question. What your mind will tell you that, you know what, I have solutions. That's what your mind will tell you. Don't struggle, go to your solutions. Kwa nini ustruggle na kuna solutions? So the question of WCC, you've not managed to handle it, or rather you had a difficulty in handle the same. So your mind straight away will take you to your solution.
Mwalimu, we can't hear you.
What is the answer on your solution? Without knowing that, yes, you get the answers, but the procedures, what about that? You convince yourself that this question, I have handled it well. That is how you're going to convince yourself that, hii question nimefanya. So mwalimu akikuja ulize nani alifanya assignment, mwalimu nilifanya assignment na nikapata this solution. Mwalimu ataona ni correct. But the question is, did you follow the right procedure? So what is the right procedure when you're doing a question and you get a challenge? In this case, when you are handling a question, either you're doing your self-studies or maybe you are doing an assignment that Mwalimu was left, when you're handling a question, you get a challenge. What are you supposed to do? What you're supposed to do is to go back to the notes. That is, if at all you're having what? If at all you're having very good notes. Go back to the notes. You check out. This was what Mwalimu was taught us, WCC. And before we reach a WCC, probably Mwalimu had given us all the steps of up to the point that I'm going to reach to WCC. Try to refer to the concept of that question in your notes, not on the solution that has been provided in the revision kit. The reason why the solutions in your revision kits are always sound as what? Suggested solutions. Suggested solutions. It is not that it is absolute. These are suggested solutions, not absolute. They are being termed as suggested solutions because there are so many other ways that you can handle that question. So, is it bad to have revision kit, Mwalimu? No, it is not bad to have revision kit. But how should you use your revision kits? Let your revision kits be point of comparison, not reference. The moment you make your revision kits to be point of reference, hapo kusema ukweli mtakuwa mnakosea. So the best way to use revision kits is to make them as point of comparison, not reference. And when I'm talking about point of comparison, is that you do your question up to completion, get a challenge, refer to your notes, so that once you are through the question, compare now with what has been provided in this revision. You compare now, you look at, okay, this is what I've done, I've used probably another way. This is what has been done in this revision kit, they have used this way. But finally, we've arrived at almost the same question or the same solution. So make revision kits be point of comparison, not reference. That is very key to note. The other thing now, which is also important for even computation papers, is balancing. balancing the theory and what? Balancing the theory part and the computation part. You have to learn how to balance. Immediately after this class, I'm going to share, if at all I have not shared earlier, I'm going to share a summary of all the theory question and answers for FM. A summary of all the theory question and answers for FM. I'm going to share immediately after this class. So what will happen, or when one is talking about balancing, what are we looking at? We're looking at a sense that for now, you realize that theory will entail 30 to 40% of every paper that you're doing. If at all you can do that right now, you take a sample of the question papers, basically from 2023 thereabout. Take a sample of the question paper. With this sample, try to sum up the questions that are theory. You realize that you're talking about 30 to 40%. 30 to 40%, which is purely theory. So how should you be able to handle this? Make sure that as much as computations are important, and try as much as possible to balance the theory. Try as much as possible to balance with what? Balance with the theory. Because imagine you have say like 45% because you did not handle theories well. This 5% can take you places you've never seen before. Yeah? The 5% can take you places you've never seen before. If at all you had only remained with the FM at intermediate level, this 5% will take you to advanced level. This 5%, even that 1% will take you to advanced level. And usiwahi danganywa na mtu ati pass mark will reduce. Because the paper has been hard, the pass mark will reduce. It will never reduce. Pass mark will always be 50%. Later on, I'll guide you on how they normally take it to do, assuming performance has not been okay. I'll guide you on how they normally take it. But as it is now, Mwalimu is insisting on make sure that we balance the theory part and the computation part. It will help us a lot. It will help us a lot. So this is another tip that we should be having. This is another tip that we should be having, balancing the theory and the computation part. Very important. Very, very important that we need to have it right. Higher. Before Mwalimu endelee na story zake, is there any question here? Any question where you feel like Mwalimu, kindly, can you clarify somewhere here? Before Mwalimu endelee na story zake, I need a question. Before Mwalimu endelee na story zake hapa, is there anyone with a question? Where you feel like Mwalimu, mimi hapa nataka unieleze vizuri. Question? And I know you can unmute, right? I know you can unmute. So where you feel like Mwalimu, mimi hapa nataka nini? Nataka unieleze vizuri. This is important to note. So assuming we don't have any other question, now we go back to financial management. Financial management, in this case, you'll find that it is a paper that has almost like 3 divisions, if at all we remove the theory part. And what is the key?
Mwalimu, big one.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Nikipiga theory like yote, alafu nipige computation moja, niko through.
Utakuwa through, Brayo. Tunagiza. Mwalimu asema hivyo, Brayo. Because at this point tunapata like usijaribu kujiconvince hivyo. Nataka kutoa your mind when you convincing yourself like that. Because utapiga theory zote, assuming theory zote maybe umepata, assuming theory zote zimekam say like up to kama 35%. See? Alafu computation moja maybe of course computation moja hizi kwa 20 marks yote. Maybe unapata computation moja 10. Of course, in this case, probably ukipata zote right, you're looking at, of course, you're above or you're at 50. But what will happen? On this theory, in this case, of course, there are those small mistakes that you can always tend to make. So out of 35 umechapa theory zote out of 35, give yourself say like 25. Yeah, give yourself say like 25, or maybe that is if at all kama iko out of 35. Alafu on this case utapata the computation part which are befiti na some maybe small mistakes here and there, upate kitu kama 11. See, unaona that effect hujafika 50, right? Haujafika 50. So hii ni risky sana. So the best way, of course, I'll be guiding us as we proceed. This is another key thing that, of course, Mwalimu will be guiding us. So the key area, and that is what I wanted us to look at this point, but because programming it in advance, I'll also know about it here. Make sure that you always answered your questions, all questions, and whatever Mwalimu was saying about the strategy, this is what I'll be sharing. You know, like, for example, come up to seduce. You see, I normally look at it as this is a seduction process. And before you seduce this person is having your paper, you know, like presentation you very, very much okay. Because you find that now probably when we are both genders, probably unapata kuna mdema anapenda jama kuna rasta, kuna mdema anapenda labda a person who was who is very muscular. Then on this other side utapata kuna boy probably when she looks at a lady anataka a lady mwenye ako in a certain maybe a certain level of how she looks, probably given the physical features and the rest. See, so this is all about seduction. So the same case will happen with exams. In this case, imagine this student, labda hapa nimepatiwa, I've been given a question. See, maybe hapa probably examiner mejiuliza, I've been asked to determine, say, like compute, say, like maybe you can talk about what? Any say WCC. Yeah. I've been told to compute WCC. So in this case, this person here has calculations, like you are starting writing some numbers, Then this other person, mwenye amekuja hapa, WCC. WCC, the least good student who has this case, will tell examiner that, you know what, WCC, I know I have to compute weight of equity, cost of equity, plus maybe weight of debt, cost of debt after tax. See, maybe I need to have weight of preference shares times cost of preference shares. This student was just started working with some figures. Then this other student who will be like WCC, this is what I need to have. I have presented this to the examiner. Then in that case, I'll come and tell the examiner that I need to compute my KE here. Okay. I need to compute my KE here, whereby this student has told the examiner that I know very well, I need to have this case for my KE here. Say, maybe PO minus if at all I'm in discount, maybe if at all I'm having flotation cost plus G. I'll give you the formula. So that after that case, now I am solving this formula. I go the same to cost of preference shares. Now, but in a formula, and I'm working it out. Even if it were you, assuming a student has made a small mistake, where will you overlook? This person, when I'm values of this person who is giving you step by step. What do you think? I just want us to look at a very practical scenario. You are the examiner. Being an examiner, this student will be asked of WCC. You student are 200,000, maybe times, maybe 3, plus maybe you're just giving some values. If it were you, and I want us to look at it in a very practical manner. Between these two people, whom do you think you can consider even overlooking a mistake? To go honest, let us be honest with ourselves. We are discussing here. Esther, ama Edith, ama Dorothy, kina Nels na kina Ruben hapa ya, kina Wirimu Veronica. What do you think? Unaweza fanya nini hapo? Between the two students, whom do you think you can overlook a small mistake?
The one
Kwanza na
was
values. Yes, Dorothy?
The one who was given the formula and has attempted the computations.
Correct. This is the nature of every other person. See, so what you're doing here, you are seducing the examiner. And that's the reason why you find that to some students, you find that a student was not very okay in class. This student was having a lot of challenges. But when the exams has been released, or rather the results have been released, you find that this student has passed. It's not a miracle. There's a strategy that this student used. Say, for example, like, however much the question is difficult, probably nimeshindwa kuinterpret this question. But the moment I've come to do this, you see, if the question was allocated 10 marks, a good marker would be like, first of all, I'll consider you've shown me this. I'll give you a mark. In this case, I'll come in, okay, this student is good. Even if it's a half a mark, then I'll also consider, there's a mark here. This student knows what he's doing. So that you give me all this, assuming this question was allocated 4 marks. See, and maybe you didn't get the actual figure right, but with these two, already I can consider, just try 2 marks. But usually when I put your figures hivi, like you're just starting, I won't even look, naweka line mbili, and finally 0. So naweka line mbili hivi. I just do 2 lines, already the figures are wrong. You're not guiding me on what to do. In this case, I just put 2 lines and I copy as well. This other person will be like, there are these steps that are being given. So I'll be like, okay, this student knows what he's doing. Hata kama amekosea the value, what I'm going to do, at least there is 2 marks I'm going to give the student. Because of presentation, good morning is calling seduction. You are seducing the person who is having your paper. You are seducing the person who is having your paper. The same case will apply with answering the theories. Okay. This includes all the theories, both WAPI, both the auditing in a company law, and even the theories in the computation. This student, you've been asked to say, like, give advantages, say, of technology in finance. Yeah, give advantages of technology in finance. There is 2 students, 2 different students. Kuna this student hapa ataanza na probably kusema like maybe it has make work to be, or rather the efficiency. Yeah, talk about efficiency. Point 1. Say efficiency, point 1. Then under efficiency, you know what this student will do? This student now will give us advantages under efficiency. This type of student. Then kuna huyu mkurugenzi mwingine ataanza na nini? Advantages of tech in finance. Anapatiana paragraph saba. See, so what will happen again? You'll find that probably the reason you might not be, you have not been passing that company law or that auditing all along. It could be because of this, or maybe you're not attaining the 50% in this computation. Probably it could be how you are answering the theories. See, so it is not your village people. Yeah, it is how you've been answering your theories. So this student, what he has done, he has clearly disclosed the point. The marker there is to look for the point. This marker is looking for that point. And clearly, I can see the point is efficiency. Whatever that this person will explain here, I know that this student is talking about efficiency. So even if this question was allocated, this part of the question, or maybe you had 2, 3, and this question was allocated 6 marks, you've given point 1, point 2, and you clearly indicated the point. Once I've seen this first presentation, in this stage, I'll be like, this student knows what he's doing, or know what she's doing. On the other end, you'll find that at this area here, what will happen? At this area, what you are telling me is that, you know what? Wewe jipange, angalia pointi yangu. This is how you're telling the examiner. This is how you're telling the person who is serving your paper. Wewe jipange, angalia point yangu kwa hii paragraph yangu. Yeah? Look at my point in this paragraph that I have given you. So you're giving me another work to look at a point in your statement. I don't have that time. Yeah, I don't have that time while in that process of marking. Sina time ya kwanza kutafuta your answer in the paragraph. I don't have that time. So you find that in this context, what I put here story that was not in paragraph form, out of 6 marks, yeah, just because to save you, you have used a lot of ink, I give you 1 mark, yeah, or maybe if at all I'm lenient, I give you 2 marks. But this person, because the way this person has presented the work, I'll be like, okay, this student knows what he's doing. He has given me the point efficiency. As much as maybe he has not explained well here, but it's a point. Point number 2 he has given me, point number 3 he has given me. So out of 6 marks, I'll be like, probably because of explanation, yes. He hasn't or she hasn't given me a good explanation, but the main points were being seen. I give this person 5 marks. Or maybe nikimpatia kidogo, labda napatia 4 marks out of 6. Simply because of what? Presentation. So always learn. Of course, as we continue with this revision session, I'll be guiding you guys on more tips. So the conclusion here is that learn how to seduce this marker. And to seduce the marker is how you present your work. The same case was given that scenario whereby these ladies who love a person, these Rasta guys or persons who are muscular, there is men who love ladies with maybe a particular shape or so on. So you find that it's always about what? Presentation. So learn how to present your work well. And in this case, of course, I'll be guiding you further on how to be answering these questions. However, how much you look at a question or however how much you see the question to be difficult, Mwalimu, of course, will be guiding us on the best steps that you should always take. That is what Mwalimu will be guiding us on the same. Brayo, thanks for asking that question. I was to say this later, but because of the question you asked, I've literally said it here at this point. So, looking at financial management, we say that today will just be a matter of our strategies. Of course, I'll be sharing questions that we'll be handling to you. You don't need to worry. So, for FM, what is the backbone? You cannot put it with capital letters. You cannot pass financial management well if you're not good in these topics. Number 1, topics that you must always tend to give yourself all to make sure that you have mastered the concept right. Number 1, really about the concept of time value of money. Give all that you can to make sure you're good with this topic, because this is a guide for everything. See, this is literally a guide for everything that you'll be required to know. This is literally a guide for everything that you'll be required to know. TVM, time, value, money. Number 2, we normally talk about valuation of securities, of course, and farm. This should be topic number 4. This should be topic number 5. Valuation of securities and farm here. Number 3, you must be perfect in regard to capital, in this case, capital structure decisions. Very important. This should be topic number 6. The other key area here, topic number 4, we talk about capital budgeting decisions. Capital budgeting decisions here. See, capital budgeting decisions. This should be topic number 7. I can tell you for sure and with a lot of certainty. Mwalimu is telling us with a lot of certainty that, you students, you cannot pass financial management easily if you are not perfect with these 4 topics. Core, whichever language that you can use. Core topics in financial management. Core topics in financial management. I'll give you an assignment. Today or whichever time that you get, you take the financial management paper, the past papers. You take the financial management papers, the past papers. What you do, try to look at the questions. Try to look at the questions. You realize that these 4 topics will cover up to 60% of every paper that you have. These 4 topics will cover up to 60% of the questions that are going to be tested. It has been like that, and I know that will not change. It will cover up to 60% of whatever that you're going to be tested. Even the exam that you're going to do in April. Even the exam that you're going to do in April. 4 topics that you must be perfect on. And why is Mwalimu saying you must be perfect? This is the impact. The concept in topic number 4 will affect topic number 5. The concept in topic number 5 will have a direct impact in topic number 3. And some concepts in topic 1 and 2, or rather topic 4 and 5, will have a direct impact in topic number 7. So the moment you've not gotten topic number 4 right, you'll have a very big challenge in all these other things. You'll have a very big challenge in all these other areas. So you must make sure that you're good with these topics. So these are the core topics. After the core topics, also these are the important topics that you have to be this one you have to be perfect because they do relate. See, talk about aspects of working capital management. Working capital management. Nowadays, you don't miss a question here. Talk about the aspect of talk about portfolio. This is another area that nowadays you not miss a question here. Portfolio analysis. Portfolio analysis. With a lot of certainty, and this one 100% certain. It's not that I'm ruling out other topics. No, I'm not ruling out other topics. Other topics, they are also important. Other topics are also important. But what I can tell you for sure, if you'll be good with these topics, there's no way, even if you're village people, I'm not telling you Komira, hata kama you're village elder, ako pale anaangalia Brian anafanya nini pale city, au Brian anafanya nini pale, even if you're village people, they are monitoring you somewhere. If you're good with these 6 topics, there's no way you can fail them. Unless you go mgonjwa, you see. But if at all you're good with these topics here, there's no way that you're going to fail them. There's no way. Hakuna Geotang. So these are the topics that, of course, we'll be starting with. First of all, of course, you're going to start with the area of the time value of money. Then, as we proceed like this. So our revision classes will say that will be purely on our weekends only. Of course, the timetable will be shared purely for weekends only classes. This weekends only, anytime you are meeting on weekends, just know it is about what it's about revision. And because of time, of course, we'll be doing it on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays and Sundays. Of course, in this case, but mwalimu atakuwa anaruka church. Yeah. So in this case, you'll find that these 2 days we are going to dedicate it purely for revisions, and of course the timetable for revision classes will be shared. Certain FM will always be having it on Saturdays, of course either at around 2 or at around 11, but that one will be shared, the timetable will be shared. So Saturdays and Sundays purely for revisions, as I mentioned earlier on, for our students who are now, of course, enrolled for the other papers. In this case, you will not be charged for revisions. In that case, we just be attending revisions, the same amount that you have paid on your classes. For our new students, you've said, revision classes till you do exams, yeah, we'll be charging only 3,000 shillings. This is till you do exams, and it will be purely revisions. And after exams, najua ndakula mbuzi mingi sana from nyinyi, ndakula mbuzi sana. Hiyo tukiangalia towards me hapo, ndakula mbuzi from you guys, because of the classes that we have. So I think all this will just pass introductory part, of course, and we're going to consider these questions as we see. So next class at 2 we're having tax. So for those who will be willing to join also the class for taxation, you can join. So you guys have a very wonderful weekend. The timetable is going to be shared, and wacha tumalize hizi vitu one time. Yeah, wacha tumalize hizi vitu one time. Kwa tunafanya songa mbele. So any question guys? Any question? Kama una swali usijifinye, uliza swali. Ask your question. Any question? Aha, great. So kama hakuna any question, you guys have a very good weekend. And for those who are joining tax, see you in the next 30 minutes. For those who are not joining tax, see you on our next class for the same. Have a very good